Maya pushed the apartment door open, talking politely to the couple behind her who wanted to rent the place. She tried to sound confident, but her voice was weak. She had barely slept in days, between losing one job, working long hours at another, and paying off medical bills from her recent burnout. She needed this rent money more than anything. This apartment, her parents' old place, was supposed to be her one bit of stability, but the second her hand touched the doorknob, she felt something wrong. It was unlocked. Her heart jumped. She clearly remembered locking it last week. She had double-checked. She always did. She gently pushed the door open and stopped. There were toys on the floor, small shoes near the wall, a half-eaten packet of chips on the table, kids' clothes draped over the back of the sofa. Her stomach tightened. The tenants behind her exchanged confused glances. This wasn't like this, Maya whispered, more to herself than to them. She stepped inside slowly, feeling every muscle tense. She had cleaned this place top to bottom. She had prepared it perfectly for showing. Nothing about this mess made sense. Is someone living here? The woman asked quietly. No, Maya said quickly. No one should be here. But her voice shook. As she moved deeper into the apartment, her confusion slowly turned into anger. Hot, sharp, rising fast. She had been through too much already. She didn't have space for one more problem. That's when she heard it. Footsteps. Small ones. A little boy, maybe 4 years old, peeked from the hallway. He stared at her with big, frightened eyes. Then he turned his head and shouted, "Mom. She's here. Mom." Maya froze. Her breath caught in her chest. Her heart pounded so loud she could feel it in her ears. And then she saw her. Danielle. Her younger sister. She walked out of the hallway slowly, holding a baby on her hip. Her hair was messy, her clothes wrinkled, her eyes tired and swollen like she hadn't slept in days. She looked thinner, older, almost like she had been fighting a silent battle alone. "Maya," Danielle whispered. The couple behind Maya took a quiet step back toward the door, unsure of what they had just walked into. Danielle swallowed hard, her voice breaking as she tried again. "Maya, please. I didn't have anywhere else to go." Maya stood frozen, her mind spinning, shock mixing with a deep, old hurt she thought she had buried long ago. And in that moment, everything she had been holding together began to crack. Maya had been juggling 2 jobs for almost a year, trying to keep her life from falling apart. She worked mornings at a small clinic and evenings at a grocery store, barely giving herself time to breathe in between. Every month was a battle. Rent, bills, debts, and family responsibilities that never seemed to end. She felt like she was carrying everything alone, and sometimes the weight of it all made her chest feel tight. Things had been different once. When their mother was alive, she was the bridge between Maya and her younger sister, Danielle. Their mother kept them connected, reminded them to look out for each other, and made sure their home felt safe. But after she passed away, everything changed. The small cracks in their family slowly grew into deep gaps. The warmth in the house disappeared, replaced by silence and misunderstandings. Danielle was the first to drift away. She married young. Too young, Maya always believed. Danielle fell in love fast and hard, ignoring every warning sign about her boyfriend-turned-husband. He was charming in public, but cold in private. Maya noticed his controlling behavior early, and tried to talk to Danielle about it. She tried gently, then she tried firmly. But every time, Danielle brushed her away. "You're overthinking," Danielle would say. "He loves me. You just don't understand." Eventually, Maya stopped trying. Every conversation turned into an argument. Danielle would defend her husband, even when her eyes looked tired and unsure. After the wedding, Danielle moved away with him and slowly cut contact. First, she stopped visiting. Then she stopped calling. Maya would send texts that were read but not answered. She left voice messages that never got a reply. It hurt, but Maya learned to live with it. She told herself, Danielle made her choice. Then 2 years ago, Danielle vanished completely. No calls, no visits, nothing. Not even on birthdays or holidays. Maya assumed she had chosen her husband again, just like always. She tried to accept it, even though a small part of her wondered if something was wrong. But she was too overwhelmed with her own struggles to chase after shadows. That's why seeing Danielle again, in their parents' apartment with 2 children, felt like a punch straight to the heart. It brought back every memory, every hurt, Every question Maya had kept locked away. Shock, anger, fear, and something deeper. Something she didn't want to name. In the hours after finding Danielle in the apartment, Maya began hearing things from the neighbors. Old aunties in the hallway whispered softly, their voices full of worry and gossip. Late-night fights in that apartment. We heard shouting, man's voice very angry. Poor kids always crying. Maya listened silently, her stomach twisting tighter with every word. She didn't know what to believe. Danielle had always been secretive about her marriage, hiding the truth until it became impossible to hide. Maya remembered the way Danielle avoided eye contact earlier, how her hands kept trembling, how she held the baby too tightly, like she was scared someone might take him away. Most of all, she remembered the look in her sister's eyes. A look she had never seen before. A look that said, I'm broken. I'm scared. I'm lost. Maya didn't know how to feel. Part of her wanted to reach out and hold Danielle like they were kids again. Another part wanted to scream at her for disappearing, for shutting her out, for causing this mess. Resentment mixed with concern. Anger mixed with fear. And deep beneath all that, old trauma began to rise. The same pain she felt every time Danielle walked away from responsibility and left Maya to pick up the pieces. Now Danielle was back, but she wasn't the same person who had left. Something dark and heavy followed her, and it sat in the apartment like a silent shadow. Maya could see it in the way Danielle's shoulders hunched, in the way her kids flinched at small sounds, in the way Danielle kept avoiding her eyes, as if a single honest look might break her completely. Maya wasn't ready to forgive. She wasn't even ready to understand. But she could tell one thing clearly. Whatever happened to Danielle, it was much worse than she was saying. And Maya knew this was only the beginning of a storm she wasn't prepared for. Maya closed the apartment door behind her and took a slow, shaky breath. She had walked the tenants out with an apology, pretending everything was fine. But inside she felt like her world had spun out of control. Now it was just her and Danielle, standing in the living room that no longer felt like her own. She turned to her sister. Start talking, Maya said quietly, but there was pain in her voice. What are you doing here? What happened? Danielle held the baby closer, her hands trembling. The older child stood behind her, holding her shirt so tightly that his knuckles turned white. Both kids looked scared, like they expected something bad to happen at any second. I left him, Danielle said, her voice barely above a whisper. Left who? Maya asked, though she already knew. My husband. The words hung in the air. Maya's chest tightened. She had warned Danielle years ago about that man. She had tried to pull her away from him before things got too deep. But Danielle hadn't listened. Maya swallowed hard. Why now? Danielle looked down, avoiding her eyes. He became worse. He hurt me. He scared the kids. Her voice cracked, but she stopped herself before saying more. I can't go back. Maya waited, expecting Danielle to explain everything. But Danielle stayed silent. She wasn't telling the whole truth. Maya could feel it. She had known her sister long enough to recognize when she was hiding something. What aren't you saying? Maya asked sharply. Danielle shook her head. Please, Maya. I just can't talk about everything yet. The baby started crying loudly, and the older child clung to Danielle harder. Maya watched them, her anger softening just a little. These kids had seen things they shouldn't have, but her questions didn't stop. How long have you been staying here? Maya asked. Danielle hesitated before answering. 2 months. Maya stepped back, shocked. 2 months? In this apartment? Without telling me. Danielle nodded slowly. I used the spare key Mom used to keep hidden in the garden. I didn't know where else to go. Maya felt her anger rushing back. She walked to the kitchen and opened the drawer where she kept the bills. They were all there, unopened envelopes, some marked final notice. Maya, please. These bills were your responsibility if you were living here. Maya snapped. Electricity, water, gas. None of them are paid. I'm already struggling, Danielle. I'm drowning. Danielle started crying silently. I know, Maya. But I had no money. I left with nothing. I thought I could figure something out, but I couldn't. And the kids needed a roof. Maya pressed her fingers against her forehead. She felt a headache forming. She had been barely keeping her own life together. And now she was expected to carry Danielle and 2 children too? I can't do this again, Maya said softly, her voice breaking. Every time, Danielle. Every time you disappear, and then come back with a mess I have to clean up. Danielle fell to her knees, holding the baby tightly. Please don't throw us out, she begged. I'll do anything. Just don't make us leave. We have nowhere else to go. Maya felt her heart twist painfully. She stared at her sister, broken, desperate, terrified, and the two children clinging to her like she was the only safe thing in their world. Her mind was torn in two. One part screamed, "Protect yourself. You've suffered enough. You can't carry her again." The other whispered, "They're family. They need you." Her emotional wounds from years of betrayal rose up again. Every time Danielle had chosen her husband over family, every lie, every argument, every abandonment, those memories burned in her chest like fresh cuts. But then she looked at the children's frightened faces, and she felt something soften inside her. She didn't know what to do. She didn't know what the right choice was. All she knew was that her life had just changed again, and she wasn't sure she was ready for the storm that was coming. Maya spent the next morning making phone calls. She tried every women's shelter in the city, hoping to find a safe place for Danielle and the kids. But every place gave her the same answer. "We're full. No available rooms. Try again next week." Maya felt helpless. She looked at Danielle, who was sitting on the couch with her baby in her arms, her eyes tired and swollen. The older child sat on the floor quietly, playing with a broken toy. "I'm trying," Maya said gently. "But there's no space anywhere right now." Danielle only nodded, but she didn't look relieved. She looked scared. She held her phone tightly, and every time it buzzed, she quickly locked the screen and hid it under a pillow or behind her back. Maya noticed it every time, and it made her uneasy. "Who keeps calling you?" Maya asked once. "No one," Danielle said too quickly. "Just wrong numbers." Maya didn't believe her, but she didn't push. Not yet. She had her own problems to deal with. When she opened the pile of bills in the drawer, her stomach dropped. There were overdue notices for water, electricity, and gas. Bills Danielle should have paid during the 2 months she secretly stayed there. Some envelopes were stamped in red. One said "Final warning." If the utilities were cut off, Maya could lose the apartment completely. She already owed money on her medical bills, and was living from paycheck to paycheck. "Danielle, why didn't you pay anything?" Maya asked, frustration creeping into her voice. "I told you I didn't have money," Danielle whispered. "But you could have at least told me," Maya said. "You let everything pile up until it almost broke me." Again. Danielle looked down, guilty but silent. Maya felt anger rise inside her. She remembered how, even when they were younger, she was the one who had to fix everything. The one who had to calm their mother down. The one who had to protect Danielle. The one who had to make sacrifices while Danielle kept making mistakes, and expecting someone else to clean up the mess. It felt like childhood all over again. And now, with adult responsibilities, the pressure was crushing her. That evening, Danielle finally opened up a little more. "He controlled everything," she said quietly. "My money, my phone, who I talked to. He took my income. He told me I didn't need anyone else." She hesitated. "He forced me to cut contact with you." Maya listened, but her heart didn't fully accept the words. Danielle had lied before. Danielle had defended him for years. Now she was saying he isolated her. But why hadn't she asked for help earlier? Why disappear for 2 years? "I don't know what to believe," Maya admitted. "I don't know if you're telling me the full truth." Danielle's eyes filled with tears, but she didn't answer. Later that night, Maya overheard the kids whispering in the bedroom. The older child, a little boy, was telling his sister, "Mama used to cry every night. She tried to hide it. I heard her." Maya stood outside the door frozen. Her heart broke for them. For Danielle. For herself. She felt tears burning her eyes, but she held them back. When she returned to the living room, she finally broke down. She sat on the floor with her hands over her face, shaking from the weight of everything. The bills, the fear, the confusion, the responsibility. She felt like she couldn't breathe. "I can't keep doing this," she whispered to herself. "I can't carry everyone forever." But she didn't have a choice. Not now. The next morning, she checked the mailbox on her way out to work. Inside was a letter from the housing authority. Her hands shook as she opened it. It was a legal notice. A warning. If the overdue bills were not paid immediately, The property could be seized for unpaid dues. Seized. Taken away. Maya felt the world tilt. Her parents' apartment. Her last connection to them. Her one lifeline. She ran upstairs with the letter in her hand. Danielle looked up from the couch as soon as she saw Maya's face. What happened? She asked nervously. Maya threw the notice onto the table. This happened. Do you understand what you've done? I could lose this place. Danielle's face went pale. I didn't mean. You never mean to, Maya said, her voice breaking. But it still happens. I'm always the one who suffers. I'm always the one paying for your choices. The little boy came out of the room, scared by the shouting. Mama. Danielle grabbed him quickly, hugging him tight. Everything felt too heavy, too broken. The air between the sisters filled with pain, anger, and years of unspoken truths. Their fragile relationship, barely holding together, finally cracked. Danielle's abusive husband showed up at the apartment on a quiet afternoon when Maya was returning from work. She had barely reached the front steps when she saw a man standing near the door, banging on it with his fist. His face was twisted with anger, and he kept shouting Danielle's name. Maya froze for a second, her heart jumping into her throat. It was him. The man Danielle had run from. Before she could react, he turned and saw her. You, he growled, walking toward her. Where is she? Where is my wife? Maya stepped back, fear rising in her chest. You need to leave, she said firmly, even though her voice shook. You can't be here. He laughed, a cold, harsh sound. She stole from me. And she ran with my kids. I'm taking them home. Maya felt panic shoot through her. She ran to the door and unlocked it quickly, slipping inside and shutting it behind her. Danielle was standing in the living room, pale and shaking, holding the baby close. The older child hid behind her legs. He's here, Maya said breathlessly. Danielle's face crumpled. No, please no. A hard bang hit the door. Danielle, her husband shouted from outside. Open this door right now. The kids began crying. Danielle held them tighter, tears streaming down her face. Maya moved beside her, placing herself between Danielle and the door. Another bang. Then another. Call the police, Maya told Danielle. But Danielle was frozen, shaking too hard to move. Maya grabbed the phone from the table and dialed. While she was talking to the operator, the door flew open. The lock had snapped. Danielle's husband stormed inside, his face red with rage. You think you can run from me? He shouted. Maya stepped in front of Danielle instinctively. Stay away from her. He pushed Maya aside, and she stumbled but didn't fall. When he reached for Danielle's arm, the older child screamed, No, don't hurt Mama. The man stopped for a moment, staring at his son. Something flickered in his eyes, but it disappeared quickly. You're coming home, he demanded. All of you. Danielle shook her head, crying so hard she could barely speak. I can't. Not again. Please. Before he could grab her, police sirens echoed outside. 2 officers rushed into the apartment and pulled him back. He fought, shouting curses, but they pinned him down and handcuffed him. You think this is over? He yelled at Danielle as the officers dragged him away. Tell them the truth. Tell your perfect sister what you did. Maya frowned, confused and shaking. What is he talking about? Danielle's face went blank, almost empty. That's right, the man shouted from the hallway. Tell her how you drained our joint savings. Tell her about that other man you were sending money to. Thousands of dollars gone. Maya felt her heart drop. Her stomach twisted. Danielle's lips trembled. She didn't try to deny it. The police pulled the man out of the building, but his words stayed behind, echoing through the air like a dark shadow. Maya turned to her sister slowly. Danielle, what is he talking about? Danielle sank to the floor, sobbing helplessly. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Did you really take the money? Maya asked, her voice soft but breaking. Did you really send it to someone else? Danielle covered her face with her hands. I didn't know what I was doing. I thought he loved me. He told me he could help me. I was so lost, Maya. I didn't trust myself. I didn't trust anyone. I was being pulled in 2 directions and I broke. Maya stared at her sister, feeling like the ground beneath her had crumbled. All this time, Maya whispered. I thought you ran because you were being hurt, because you were trapped. And now you're telling me you were sending money to another man behind his back. Danielle looked up, her eyes red and desperate. Maya, please, he abused me. He lied to me. He made me feel worthless. And then the other man pretended to care. He said he could save me. I believed him. I didn't know he was using me too. Maya felt sick. So you betrayed him, and he betrayed you? Yes, Danielle cried. I was scared, lonely, confused. I made terrible mistakes. I know. But I wasn't trying to hurt you, Maya. I just didn't know how to escape. Maya's anger and pain burst out at once. You never tell the whole truth, she shouted. You hide everything until it explodes. And then I'm the one who has to fix it. I'm the one who pays. I'm the one who loses everything. Danielle tried to reach for her, but Maya stepped back. The kids cried quietly, holding on to their mother. The entire apartment felt heavy, suffocating, full of broken trust and years of hurt. Maya wiped her tears, her voice barely a whisper. I don't know who you are anymore. Danielle broke down completely on the floor, shaking with guilt and fear. And in that moment, their relationship shattered into pieces neither of them knew how to pick up. Danielle finally told Maya everything. Not just bits and pieces. Everything she had been hiding for years. She talked about the abuse, the fear, the isolation, and the terrible choices she made when she felt hopeless. She admitted she trusted the wrong people and sent money to a man who used her. She admitted she stayed silent because she felt ashamed and scared Maya would judge her. Maya listened quietly. Her heart was heavy, but she could see that Danielle was finally being honest. For the first time in a long time, Danielle wasn't hiding behind excuses or lies. She was facing what she had done. After a long pause, Maya spoke softly. I will help you, but things will be different now. Danielle looked up, her eyes full of fear. Different how? I won't carry everything for you anymore, Maya said. If you want a new life, you have to take responsibility. I'll support you, but there will be rules. Real boundaries. Danielle nodded quickly, wiping her tears. I understand. I'll do whatever it takes. And she meant it. The next few days were busy and difficult, but Danielle worked hard. With Maya's help, she contacted a legal aid center. They sat together as Danielle explained her situation to a lawyer. The lawyer helped her start the paperwork for a protective order against her husband. Maya also helped Danielle find a therapist who worked with women recovering from abusive relationships. Danielle agreed to attend weekly sessions, even though she was scared to face her trauma. They made a list of job applications. Danielle updated her old resume, and Maya showed her how to send online applications. Danielle's hands shook the first time she pressed the submit button, but she kept going. Meanwhile, Maya focused on fixing her own life too. She met with the utility companies and arranged payment plans to save the apartment. She found reliable tenants to rent it out, so she could stabilize her finances again. She made a strict budget for herself, something she had avoided before. Both sisters were trying step by step, and slowly, something changed between them. Danielle started showing accountability. When she said she would do something, she did it. She attended therapy, answered phone calls honestly, and didn't hide her struggles from Maya. Maya began to see small signs of the little sister she once loved, the softness, the effort, the honesty. She still kept her boundaries strong, but she allowed moments of connection to return. They talked more, shared meals, and sometimes even laughed. The tension did not disappear completely, but the sharp edges softened. The kids also began to feel safer. They slept through the night without crying. They smiled more. They clung less tightly to Danielle, learning to breathe again. The path forward was fragile, not perfect and full of hard work, but it was real. Not built on fear or lies, just slow healing. One evening, as Maya watched Danielle filling out another job form, she felt something warm in her chest. Hope. Not for a perfect life, but for a new start. They weren't the same sisters they used to be, but maybe, just maybe, they could build something stronger. Maya stands in the empty apartment, the quiet almost deafening. The walls are bare, the furniture gone, and the air smells faintly of old memories. She runs her fingers along the windowsill and thinks of her mother's voice, soft but firm. You can't save everyone, but you can choose who you stand beside. Those words echo in her mind. She had spent so many years trying to hold everything together. Her jobs, the bills, her sister, the kids. She had nearly broken under the weight of it all. But now, for the first time in a long time, she feels a small sense of peace. She stood beside Danielle, and they survived the storm together. Her phone buzzes. It's a message from Danielle. Maya opens it and sees a photo of the kids smiling in their temporary housing, safe and warm. Danielle's message reads, "Thank you for not giving up on me." Maya's chest tightens. She types back carefully, choosing her words. This time, don't give up on yourself. She puts the phone down and looks around the apartment once more. It's empty, but it's no longer heavy. The emptiness feels like a chance to start over. A quiet space where she can breathe. Maya knows the road ahead won't be easy. There will still be bills, work, and challenges. But she also knows that sometimes, just sometimes, standing by someone who is trying to fight their own battles can make all the difference. She takes a deep breath, closes her eyes, and lets the silence settle. It's bittersweet, pain and relief tangled together, but it feels real, human, honest. And for the first time in years, Maya feels like she's exactly where she's supposed to be. Hey besties! Thanks for watching all the way through. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more stories. See you next time.